Hey guys, what's going on? Earth Twister here, and we're back with another Jubilee video. And we're going up against Klaw once more to keep it even as we go through all of her aspects. And today we're working through her with Protection. This is going to be a little bit interesting. I have never played Jubilee in Protection before, so this is a deck that I built, and I'll try and include the link in the description below, so feel free to check that out. I feel like Jubilee is sort of like a character that enjoys getting things out there fast. She's event-based, she likes to get things done, but she also likes to build. So I'm hoping that we can build a little bit here in Protection, but I've also included a lot of events that might be helpful and some allies that can help protect her along the way as we set up. And we're going for sort of an interesting build. And we'll check it out, see how it does, and hopefully it'll work well for us. And of course, we've got Klaw over here. I've already done some of the setup. We've got Defense Network set out, and now we're just going to shuffle up the encounter deck here. And once that is shuffled, we'll go ahead and see what minion we reveal. All right. Let's go ahead and flip the scheme over. Of course, it comes in with 0 threat. Klaw has 12 health. And Defense Network has 3 threat on it. And the crisis icon, which keeps us from being able to thwart that main scheme right there. And Protection may be a little bit difficult to help us with that. So let's go ahead and start discarding, see what minion we get, and we start right off with an Armored Guard. That was good because we didn't have to cycle through the encounter deck a lot. Starts with the Tough, which is not great. And let's go ahead and shuffle up the player deck here. See what we get out of this. This is a 43 card deck. I did include the double resources from basics. I added a bunch of allies that were X-Men and a couple of other things in here as well from Protection that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But I'm hoping that everything will work together and synchronize well. And so we'll just see how this all plays out. So let's go ahead and shuffle this up. And then we'll draw our starting hand. We got Multi-Talented, Armor, another Multi-Talented, Nightcrawler, Jubilee Sunglasses, and an Armored Vest. So the Armored Vest is in there for when I feel like I can start defending. So I may go ahead and just cycle this. Nightcrawler's a bit expensive, and Multi-Talented really doesn't help us too much right now. We don't have a lot of the kickers in order to be able to get what we need off of that. So we start with Armor and Sunglasses. We get a Genius, a Plasmoid Energy, a Flash of Light, and another Plasmoid Energy. Can you ask for a more perfect hand? Wow. Okay. Let's go ahead, and we're just going to use our action here to get the Shopping Spree player's side scheme onto the game mat there. Search it through our deck, and there it is. It was the second card from the top. All right. So shuffle this back up. Now, Shopping Spree does come in with 2 threat. And it can't be removed by heroes or allies. But what it can do is be removed by me and Alter Ego by exhausting, which is what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to remove 1 threat. And then we're going to flip up. Then Jubilee is going to use a Plasmoid Energy, which is 2 different resources, an energy and a mental there. And we're going to go ahead and play a Flash of Light. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. And if I paid for this card using 2 different resource types, confuse an enemy. That's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and remove 3 threat from Defense Network, which goes ahead and defeats that side scheme. And we're going to we'll just go ahead and give Klaw a confused. All right. The next thing that we'll do is I'm just going to use Genius here to play Jubilee's Sunglasses. That'll be helpful if we get any attack events on the villain phase. And Plasmoid Energy is going to play Armor, who's going to come in with a Tough status card. Awesome. And I can only play Armor if I have the X-Men trait, which Jubilee does have. So that's looking pretty good. I think it'll be great to have armor take a hit for us with her tough there. So let's go ahead and ready up and draw our next hand. We get Endurance, X-Gene, which would have been great to have on this past turn, Nerves of Steel, Flash of Light, and Firecracker. No defense things, but it could be a pretty good turn. All right, so the threat goes up by 1. Klaw attacks for 0 plus 2 boost. Armor will defend. He will deal 1, and then if this activation deals damage to you, exhaust your hero. It does not damage me. It simply knocks off her tough. And then the Armored Guard attacks, I will go ahead and take 1. Then we get an encounter card, which is an advance. Fortunately, Klaw is confused, so he does not scheme. Perfect. That's a pretty good start there. It's crazy. All right. So I really don't have threat to worry about. And I think, let me see here. We go get a ready token there. Can I defeat? How can I play this? I think I'll do this. So Jubilee is going to go ahead and exhaust to attack for 2 on the Armored Guard to remove his tough. Then I'm going to use X-Gene and Flash of Light as 2 different resources to play Firecracker. Firecracker deals 4 damage to an enemy, and if I paid for this with 2 different resource types, I can stun that enemy. I did, but that does defeat the Armored Guard here. But then Jubilee's Sunglasses is after I play an attack event, exhaust Jubilee's Sunglasses and choose an enemy. Deal 1 damage to the enemy for each different resource type used to pay for that event. So I get to go ahead and deal 2 damage here to Klaw. Such a good move. And I feel like it would be worth it. We're going to go ahead and use Nerves of Steel to pay for Endurance, bringing Jubilee up to an 11 hit points out of a max of 12. And from here, let's go ahead and flip everyone up and draw our hand. 4, 3, 4, 5. All right, tackle is going to be interesting. Flash of Light. We got some interesting cards this round. All right, let's go ahead. Threat will go up 1. There we go. Klaw will attack for 0 plus 2 boost. Armor will defend for us. And she'll take 5 damage. That is... I'm very glad she defended for me. Thank you, Armor. Okay. And then we get an encounter card. Weapons Runner, which surges into Sound Manipulation. I take 2 damage and Klaw heals 2 damage. I don't love that. Puts me at 9 and Klaw back up at 12. All right, so what do we have here? We've got Moira McTaggart, Polaris, Tackle, Plasmoid Energy, and Flash of Light. Okay. Do some interesting stuff here. So Weapons Runner doesn't have guard, so I can go ahead and straight in attack Klaw, which is good. And okay, so yes. I think this is going to be what I want to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and use 3 resources, Plasmoid Energy with the mental and physical, and then we've got a mental on Moira McTaggart. So that's 3 resources. We're going to play Tackle. Stun an enemy, and if I paid for this card using a physical resource, deal 3 damage to that enemy. I'm going to stun Klaw and deal 3 damage to him, bringing him from 12 down to 9. Then I'm going to trigger Jubilee's Sunglasses, which I used 2 different resource types, a mental and a physical, and that's going to deal 2 damage to Weapons Runner, which defeats him. He never even stood a chance. Then in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Jubilee to generate a resource, and Polaris is going to generate another resource for a Flash of Light. Remove the last of the threat on the main scheme here. And because I did pay for it with 2 different resource types, I will confuse Klaw. So now he is both stunned and confused. And I realize those are going off screen. Okay. It's looking pretty good. I think since he is confused, I'll go ahead and flip down. A bigger hand would be good, and maybe I can clear off shopping spree and get my coat. There we go. We'll draw up 1, Professor X. 2, Powerful Punch. 3, 4, 5. All right. Let's see what we want to do here. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw would scheme, but he's confused. And then we get an encounter card, which gains Surge because I'm an alter ego into Radioactive Man. Not ideal, but it's still not terrible. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exhaust, and we'll remove the last threat here off shopping spree. When defeated, the player who defeated this side scheme can search their deck and discard pile for an item card and put it into play. Fortunately, our coat is an item, so we'll go ahead and put that into play, and we'll shuffle up our deck. All right, so we got that. I like to go ahead and stack this way because I start filling out over here. So endurance is going to go underneath the coat and the sunglasses. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and flip up. And let's see how I want to do this. I can get a ready or a confused. Yeah, I think we'll do this. So what doesn't kill me, Wolverine and X-Mansion are going to pay for Professor X. Professor X has a response. After Professor X enters play, choose 1, confuse the villain, stun a minion, or ready an X-Men character. At the end of the round, if the Professor X is still in play, discard him. I'm going to go ahead and ready a Powerful Punch in my hand. So I still can't pay for it. So I could confuse Klaw or stun Radioactive Man. If I stun him, I don't get activated against, which means I can't use Powerful Punch, but I also don't do enough damage to him for Powerful Punch to really... Well, that's an interrupt. This would be a response to the interrupt. So... No, it'll only do 6 damage. Okay. I think we're going to hold on to this, and we'll stun Radioactive Man. Professor X will go ahead and port 3 off of Underground Distribution and take a consequential for that. All right, let's go ahead and ready and draw up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw would attack, but he's stunned. Radioactive Man's the same. I do forget that I have Professor X to defend, so that maybe that would have been fine. Well, is what it is. All right, so then that happened. We get an encounter card, which means Klaw heals 2, and I take 2. So I drop down from 9 to 7, and Klaw pops back up to 11. All right, my turn. So Powerful Punches right now are not super helpful. White Queen would discard a status card from a character. Professor X does leave play. So I could tackle to stun Radioactive Man, deal 3 damage to him. But then what? Can hold on to a powerful punch. Can deal 6 damage to Radioactive Man. Yeah. Ooh. Could deal 3 damage to Klaw. Then, yep. I'm going to do this. Okay. So these 3 resources, an energy, a physical, and a wild, are going to pay to do 3 damage to Klaw, or stun Klaw. And because I used a physical, I deal 3 damage to him, so he drops from 11 down to 8. So he gets stunned. And then I'm going to trigger Jubilee's sunglasses, and I use 3 different resources, so 3 damage goes on to Radioactive Man here. And that was, yeah, those 3 resources to pay for tackle. Okay. I feel like that's pretty good. I do have a resource here still, or a... That deals 4 damage, so I'm going to go ahead and thwart 2 off of the main scheme. We'll ready up. Or actually... Yeah, we'll ready up. We'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that doesn't look great. Okay. Threat goes up by 1. That's not the right token. There we go. Then Klaw would attack, but he's stunned. Radioactive Man does attack. But before Radioactive Man attacks, I'm going to use an energy, so 2 resources, to pay for Powerful Punch, to interrupt. So when an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage to that enemy. So it deals 4 damage to Radioactive Man and defeats him before his attack finishes. And because of Powerful Punch, I think I'll hold off on triggering Powerful Punch's sunglasses. So that defeats Radioactive Man. Not bad. Okay, then we get an encounter card. Klaw's Vengeance. Klaw attacks you. If this attack deals damage, place 1 threat on the main scheme. Alright, so Klaw will attack for 0 plus 2 boost. I do have another Powerful Punch in my hand. I could either trigger... I think I'll hold on to it. That was not supposed to be in there. Draw these 2 cards. And I'm just going to take it. So he's going to deal a damage, and then a Weapons Runner comes into play on the encounter card. So I take a damage. That's not too bad. All right. That's player phase. And I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Jubilee to generate a wild. We're going to use a physical here with Powerful Punch. I'm going to deal 4 damage to pay for, because you pay for Firecracker. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If I paid for this card using 2 different resource types, stun that enemy. So Klaw takes 4 damage, taking him from 8 down to 4. And he'll be stunned. I'm going to trigger Jubilee's Sunglasses to deal 2 damage to Weapons Runner, which defeats him. I'm going to hold on to Strength and flip down. Clearly, my brain's not all here. I'm trying to flip all my cards down and ready. And draw up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw schemes for 2 plus a boost. 2. And there's no boost on there. So he just adds 2 threat. Bringing it from 2 to 4. And the encounter card is Klaw's Vengeance. Alter Ego, I discard a card from random at my hand. Tackle. Great. Let's go ahead and I'm going to exhaust Jubilee to heal for 3. Bring me from 6 back up to 9. I'll flip up. I'm going to use Strength to pay for what doesn't kill me. Heal 2 damage from my hero and then ready my hero. So I go from 9 to 11. I get to ready. Then what I have left is I could do multi-talented, which is actually probably a really good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Jubilee to generate a wild resource. X-Jet will be an energy resource, and we have a physical resource here. So my wild is going to become a mental. Pay for multi-talented. So I deal 2 damage to an enemy for the physical, bringing him from 4 down to 2. Then I'll trigger Jubilee Sunglasses to deal 3 more damage, which defeats him. He stays stunned, but we go ahead and swap him to his second stage. Says, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Immortal Klaw and reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck. So we get the Immortal Klaw. Comes in with 3 threat and an acceleration icon. Okay. Then we're continuing, so I get to remove 2 threat from Underground Distribution. And I will trigger Jubilee's Coat. I'm not sure how this would work because I don't know if that would respond or if that was an interrupt, him coming in like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just trigger Jubilee's Coat to remove the rest of the threat here. And then I get to heal 2 more damage, which brings me up to my 12. Okay, so we've cleared all the threat. Klaw is still stunned. I'm going to ready and draw up to my hand size of 5. That's 3 cards there. Klaw is at 28 hit points because he gets plus 10 for that side scheme. So I drew 3 cards. And we'll draw 2 more. All right. We get a multi-talented and a flash of light on top of my grand finale, firecracker, and weapon X. Maybe Klaw is just too easy. Maybe statusing with Jubilee's cards is just too easy. I don't know. All right, so it is villain phase. Threat goes up by 2 because we have the acceleration icon there on the Immortal Klaw. Klaw would attack, but he's stunned. And then we get an encounter card, which is Tiger Shark. That, my friends, is not ideal. Okay, so first thing, make sure I trigger this in the right order. I think what I want to do, I want to play Flash of Light, and then either Multi-Talented or Grand Finale would be nice. But I don't have enough resources. So I could just play Firecracker. Let's see. Yeah, I have enough to just do 2 2-cost events. So let's go ahead and I will do a Mental and an Exhaust from Jubilee, and we'll play Flash of Light. We remove 3 threat from the Immortal Klaw, defeating that side scheme. Once it's defeated, he loses 10 hit points, so he's back at 18. And then we'll trigger Jubilee's Coat to remove 2 threat off of the main scheme. Then I'm going to go ahead and use Grand Finale and Multi-Talented as 2 different resources to play Firecracker. So we get to stun and deal 4 damage to Tiger Shark. But then we're going to trigger Jubilee's sunglasses and defeat him. All right. Interesting way to play this game. Draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Shopping Spree is definitely going to be used as a resource. Okay, threat goes up by 1 this time. Klaw will attack for 1+2 boost. I think I can take it. 1, 2, no extra damage, but I deal 1 damage to each hero. So 1, then I take another one there. And it did deal damage to me, so I exhaust my hero. So I take 2 total. So it takes me from 12 down to 10, and I get exhausted. We get an encounter card, which is Melter. All right. So what we're going to do here is Plasmoid Energy and Shopping Spree will play multi-talented. So it's 3 resources, 3 different resources for multi-talented. Physical, mental, and wild. The wild will be declared as an energy. So we'll go ahead and for the mental, we remove 2 threat from a scheme. I don't have to trigger the coat because there's no more threat. For the physical, we deal 2 damage to an enemy. So Melter here will take 2 damage. And then Jubilee's sunglasses will trigger, dealing the final 3 damage. So Melter gets defeated. And then I get to heal 2 damage from my identity. And then we have Utopia and Powerful Punch in my hand. I was not able to ready that turn, so I cannot pay for it. So we'll go ahead and ready up. Draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw will attack for 1+2 boost. I am going to take it, but I'm going to play Powerful Punch. And I'm going to use Flash of Light and Utopia to pay for Powerful Punch. So that's 2 different resources. That was a mental and a physical for Powerful Punch. So as he's attacking me, I swing in and deal 4 damage to him. Takes him from 18 down to 14. I'm going to trigger my sunglasses to do an additional 2 damage because I paid for it with 2 different resources. Then his attack comes through with 1, 2 boost, 5 damage. Not ideal. Brings me from 12 down to 7. I have multi-talented and Nerves of Steel left in my hand. Okay. We get an encounter card, and it is Klaw's Sonic Converter. So anytime he deals damage to me or to any character, that character gets stunned. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to exhaust Jubilee and use multi-talented to play Nerves of Steel. Then I will flip down and ready. Drawing up my hand of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw schemes for 2 plus a boost, 2, and an advance, so that's no more threat. So threat goes up to 4. And then we get an encounter card, which is an Armored Guard. Comes in with Tough and Guard. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is use Genius to pay for more McTaggart. Then I will interestingly enough, I'm not going to heal like I wanted to, but I will flip up. As I flip up, Moira gives me a card. It's a powerful punch. I will exhaust to deal 2 damage to Armored Guard. Remove his tough. Then I will use uh 3 resources to pay for Professor X and Ready Jubilee. Professor X will fort 3 off the main. Jubilee will fort the rest off. Ready. Draw up to my hand size of 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, threat goes up by 1. Klaw will attack for 2, plus 2 boost. Professor X will defend. Professor X takes 6 damage. Straight to the face. Thank you very much, Professor X. Then Armored Guard will attack for 1, but I am going to use Nerves of Steel to generate an energy resource, and I'm going to exhaust to generate a wild resource to pay Powerful Punch. When an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage to that enemy. So he gets defeated before his attack finishes. And then I'm going to trigger the Sunglasses to deal 2 more damage to Klaw because I used 2 different resources to pay for it. That's actually really good. Okay. So I have a couple of thoughts here. I've got 10 health left to deal with. I can stun and deal 3 damage to him. Yeah. Or I could pay for armor and get a tough out there. Or if I pay for what doesn't kill me, then I get to heal 2 and ready. And I still don't have enough resources to pay for everything. Because even if I flip down, I have to be in Alter Ego to pay X Gene. So I think what'll be best is I'm going to use these 3 as resources. And we're going to pay for tackle. I did use a physical. So I can stun an enemy and deal 3 damage to him. So we'll stun Klaw and take him from 10 down to 7. Then I'm going to go ahead and ready. We're going to hope that we don't have to deal with too much from him. We'll drop 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Threat goes up by 1. Klaw would attack, but he's stunned. Get an encounter card. The villain attacks. What do I have in my hand? Nothing to prevent the attack. And defend for 2. He'll attack for 1, 2, plus 2 boost. That is the end of the encounter deck. He does 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing else there. I only defended for 2, so I do take 2 damage. And I get stunned. Okay. He did deck out. So he gets an acceleration token on the main scheme. But now it is my turn. I could I did exhaust, so I'm exhausted. There's 2 threat on that there. So I could do this. And then flip down and keep these in my hand. Threat goes up by 2. He schemes for 2 plus a boost. Would I have an energy? I could use Wolverine. But I can't. It's not a defensive event. It's defense interrupt. Okay, I will go ahead and I'm going to use these 3 as resources to pay for Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is going to thwart 2 off the main. I'm going to hold these 2 cards in my hand. And ready. I'm going to draw up to 5. Okay. Threat goes up by 2. Forgot to shuffle up his encounter deck. Counter deck shuffled. So he's going to attack for 2 plus 2 boost. I'm going to take it. Right? Yes. I'm going to take it. So 2, 3, 4, 5. That would defeat me. But I will spend an energy resource. So this Wolverine is going to be an energy. I prevent and return Nightcrawler to my hand and prevent all of that damage. So I take no damage from that. We get an encounter card. Sound Manipulation. Heal 2 damage from Klaw. And I take 2 damage. I'm playing with my health a little too riskily here. Okay. So I didn't have to exhaust. He's at 9. Can I finish him off? I think the most that I can do... Okay. I think what I'll do here, I'm going to use X-Jet and X-Mansion to pay for Firecracker. That's 2 different resources. So I deal 4 damage to Klaw, taking him from 9 down to 5. And it stuns him. Oh. But I will have exhausted... I wanted to exhaust to clear my stun first. So now he's stunned. Has taken 4 damage from that. My sunglasses will deal an additional 2. Forgot to do that first. Pretty hairy. I think we trust the cards. Ready and draw up. Dang it. Okay. That goes up by 2, bringing it up to 4. Klaw would attack, but he's stunned. We get an encounter card. Shadows of the Past. Okay. And brings Nanny in with the toughness. Good news is she does not have guard. And it brings in her side scheme. And we shuffle these cards into our deck. At this point, I'm not entirely concerned about this. It's just more of a nuisance than anything else. Because it means I can't thwart the main. It comes in with 2. And then 3, 4, 5. So it comes in with 5 threat. All right. At this point, trying to get 3 damage on him won't be too hard. What can I do, though? I don't have any way. Let's see, if I play Flash of Light, it leaves me with enough resources to also defeat him. So I can feel kind of good about myself if I do that. All right. I'm going to use Plasmoid Energy, which generates 2 different resources for Flash of Light. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. And if I paid for this card using 2 different resource types, confuse an enemy, so we'll confuse Klaw. Then I'm going to also trigger my Coat, which will remove an additional 2 threat, which clears Naughty Children. That feels pretty good. Then we're going to use Strength and Nightcrawler to pay for White Queen, who has a response. After White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character. So we're going to discard the Tough off of Nanny. I'm going to attack for 1, 2 with my sunglasses. So that takes Klaw down from 3 to 1. And White Queen will deal the final blow, dealing 1 damage to Klaw and winning us this round. I think normally I do like protection, but I felt like there was always a priority to play something else rather than a protection card, or the protection cards that I brought were events. So I didn't really build as much as I normally like to. And I even forewent some things like X-Jet or X-Gene and things that I typically build with. The Nerves of Steel and Moira McTaggart were sort of just, I put them down as building cards because I was able to pay for them. They weren't really a priority, and I didn't have anything else that I could do instead. Really, once you get Jubilee's sunglasses and her coat down, and maybe an endurance or 2, well, not 2 because you can only play 1, but once you get these 3 things down, this is really, I feel like, Jubilee's core. And if you run with multi-talented in your deck, you're really getting a lot of value for this card. You're not just removing 2 damage, 2 threat, and healing yourself 2. You're dealing 5/5 and 2 for the cost of 3, which is really, really easy to get with Jubilee's resources and just the way you build your deck. This one I felt like didn't work quite as well because I was having to build with more physical resources to be able to pay for the kickers on the tackle. So some of this was just not quite as good. It may have just been my deck build itself trying to build into Jubilee's status lock. But at this point, like, I feel like it was a pretty good deck. I feel like she's okay in protection. It may not be her strongest aspect, but I feel like it works well enough for her, especially working against a standard Klaw. Her thwart, she can thwart like crazy on her own. She can deal damage a lot on her own. So maybe even building up some of her protection. If I had started putting things like the force field generator and the electrostatic armor and the other ones like that, that could have really helped her out a lot in the long run. So I think the next time I build a protection deck for her, I would try to add those upgrades in there and see if they could be priority for me at any point, helping me to deal extra damage where I need it. And then even playing something like Change of Fortune would be helpful for that as well, because I feel like there was a couple of times when it was the villain phase and I did 1 card there, and then I wasn't really able to do anything in the hero phase. So those are my thoughts on her in protection. Let me know what you guys think yourself of Jubilee in protection, and whether you think that you would want to play her in protection, or if you prefer her so far in aggression or justice. The next game will be leadership, and we'll see how well she does in leadership. She may do just as well as every other X-Men, but that is protection for us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.